everybody. Welcome to Greenbelt Neighbors. I'm Cynthia Swan.
And I'm Meg Haney. On this show, our goal is to introduce you to some active, interesting, and unique Greenbelt neighbors.
Today we have with us Katy Gaughan. Hi, Katy.
Hi.
Welcome to Greenbelt Neighbors. I understand that you are a drummer and a professional drumming circle facilitator. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Good. You offer drumming all over the DMV for well-being and healing for a lot of different populations in our area. And I think best of all, you're our neighbor here in Greenbelt.
Yeah, and welcome, Katy. I'd like to know if you could tell us a little bit about your background, and also what drew you here to Greenbelt?
Well, thank you, Cynthia and Meg, and thank you so much for having me on this show. So I've been in the D.C. area for over 20 years. I grew up in Syracuse, New York, but came down here to go to school and have stayed. And I've lived in a lot of places, but Greenbelt has been my most recent home, and I moved here a few years ago because of the music and the art scene and the community aspect of it. So that really drew me in. And I'm now a proud homeowner here as well. So
That's
I'm very,
awesome.
very happy for that.
Oh, that's great.
Well, how did you find drumming? You found Greenbelt, but tell us your story. How did you find drumming?
Well, as a kid, I played piano, so I kind of knew that as a percussive instrument, probably my first one. But while I was in college, I had a friend who had a band, and he had a woman in the band who was playing bongos. And it was like an aha moment. And I was like, I want to do that. So after college, I started drumming. And I was living in D.C. at the time, and a friend introduced me to the Meridian Hill or Malcolm X Drum Circle. And that is a beloved community event that's been going on for, I think, maybe 50 years or more. So I started drumming there, and one thing led to another, and I just found teachers to study with, and eventually was connected with the Baltimore International Rhythm and Drum Society, and they sponsored classes and also had community drum circles. So that's when I saw my first community facilitated drum circle, and that was another aha moment of like, oh my gosh, I want to do that. So I started taking lessons from Jackie McMillan, who's one of my first djembe teachers, and she's taught many of us in the area, but she's also a facilitator, a drum circle facilitator, and through her I was connected with Arthur Hall, who's my now drum circle teacher, and I've studied with him for over 15 years.
That's great. Could you tell us a little bit about what a drum facilitator does? I've heard this term, but as a professional drum facilitator, it would be interesting to know what your role is.
Yeah, we want to hear the inside out.
Yes, right.
So, a drum circle facilitator facilitates community connection through music, through drumming specifically. So when I do an event, I bring the drums and the instruments, and then I get people playing together, and we learn how to get sounds on the drum, and then we play games and do all these little exercises, just get comfortable playing together, and then from there, I lead us into improvisational music making, which I think we can all do on the drum, and I've been doing this for so long, I see that it works because we all know rhythm. We have rhythm in our bodies with the heartbeat, with our breath, with how we walk. So when we are able to play the drum, we get to express ourselves non-verbally and tap into that rhythm, and then we're connecting with each other as well. So I'm just there to kind of shape it and move it and, make sure that everybody's having a good time. I love it.
I know I've been to some of your drum circles, and they really are exciting. I think they're really great.
And I haven't, and now I have something to look forward to.
Yes, exactly.
So you mentioned that you work with diverse populations and groups, and tell us a little bit more about that. Is there a range, like sometimes really specific groups for healing, and then just, it sounds like general festival, get together and drum?
Yeah, so I offer drumming for wellness programs for all populations, and I can work with, yesterday I was working with special needs kids and adults. I work with, I go to assisted living facilities regularly. I work with seniors in rec centers, youth, parks and rec. I've done team buildings for organizations. And then, of course, just the community open drum circle, which invites everybody in, right? So it's accessible to everyone. We can all play the drum. We can all pick up a shaker and do that. And most of us have been doing it since we were a baby, right? So it's just kind of letting you remember that. And the healing aspect comes from the fact that I think of drumming as like you're tuning in and you're tuning up your mind, body, and spirit. So when we play together, also play is good for your health, right? How often do you get a chance to play, right? Especially when you're an adult. Or some people say they love it when kids can play drums because they can actually be loud, right? And it's okay. So drumming, they're doing studies now that drumming reduces stress because you're banging on something, right? That's a good thing. It also helps boost the immune system. So when you drum together in a group regularly, your body creates more T cells which fight disease. Drumming allows your right and left brain hemispheres to connect, which is not something that it usually does. Only a couple of activities allow that. Drumming's one of them. The benefit of that is that you're more in a flow state. And I think that really allows creative energies to come up and just you kind of just are more relaxed. And it fosters connection. You're connecting with yourself, your heart, your rhythm, and you're connecting with the people around you. So I see all the time, especially when I'm working with some of the elders, they'll come in and they're cranky. They're like, I was napping. Why did you wake me up? And then at the end of the drum circle, they are smiles and happy, and it just happens to all of us.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Well, now that you're talking, I'm reminded of a portion of my training where a drummer came in and he, as a therapist, was beginning to use drumming with families and reconnecting families that were kind of blown apart either by divorce or adolescent behavior. And it was, he had the class drumming, and it was really powerful, especially in the idea that we were working with it as a healing resource for us. So
I think
yeah, I've seen it in action in that sense.
That's primarily because drumming is one way you can express yourself non-verbally.
Right.
So it allows you to, in a safe way, maybe touch into some emotions that you don't really want to talk about, but you can put it on the drum, and that's going to just make room for then you to maybe have those difficult conversations.
Right.
Especially in the group where you felt isolated from the group. So
yeah, no, I know. I've been to a few of your drum circles, and they're really fun, very dynamic, and you meet a lot of people, and it's just a really special experience.
Yeah.
You do feel good when you've walked away. I wanted to ask you about Arthur Hull. You had said earlier when we were speaking before the show that he's retiring, and that something very unique or something very special is coming your way.
Right. So about a year and a half ago, I got a phone call from Arthur out of the blue, and he said he's ready to take a step back, and he's considered the godfather of the facilitated drum circle. He has pioneered this work for the past 40 years all over the world. So now that he's ready to retire, he wants to continue his legacy by inviting 20 hand-picked people to be his trainers now, certified village music circle trainers, and I happen to be one of those. There are 10 people internationally and 10 people in the States.
Congratulations.
that
that's pretty
sounds
exciting.
wonderful. Congratulations.
I'm really excited.
Yeah, it's exciting to have you, and as a Greenbelt neighbor, here you are, one of 10 in the
Yes,
country.
right. I know, and we have you right here.
Yeah.
I see we have these drums next to us.
Yes.
Would it be possible for you to give us a little bit of a
Absolutely.
lesson?
Like I said, I bring the drum and get people playing. So first of all, this is very exciting. So you want to be seated on the edge of your seat. You want to hold the drum between your legs and tilt it away from you so you can let air come up through the drum. Okay. We're going to use the fleshy part of our hand for our bass note. So let your just hand fall down on the drum and bounce off. Great. And now we're going to use fingers from the knuckles up. That's going to be our tone. Just let your arm fall down and bounce off. Great. So those are the sounds we're going to use today. And so the drumming I do, I really want people to just pick it up very easily. So this is recreational, improvisational, very different than playing culturally specific rhythms. That's very important too. That's where these drums really come from, and I honor all my teachers who've taught me that. But today we're just going to have some fun with this. So
I'm a beginner, so what can you say?
okay, so if you can say it, you can play it. Ooh. So here's what I suggest. We're going to say Greenbelt Neighbors, Greenbelt Neighbors, Greenbelt Neighbors, Greenbelt Neighbors, Greenbelt Neighbors, Greenbelt Neighbors, Greenbelt Neighbors. Great. Now we're going to add to that. So how about this? Interesting and unique Greenbelt Neighbors. 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 Now keep it going. And unique Greenbelt Neighbors. And see if you can say the words in your head.
So we want to thank you for coming today
this has been
and
wonderful.
letting us experience this. You know, I don't want to stop.
I know, right?
Well, thank you. And it's really wonderful to have a window in as a beginner. But for all of you in the area who have been drumming, we just want to tell you how excited we are that you're here with us and are a member of our community and working to heal and connect and augment communication through the drumming circle.
How can people find out about your classes, your drum circles? Do you have a website that they can go to?
I do. I have a website. It's my name, KatyGaughan.com. Okay. You can also search Katy Gaughan or Drumming for Wellness, and I'm on Facebook as well. And I'm very active in the Greenbelt area, so check out my schedule and come drum with me.
Great. Well, thank you again, Katy.
You're welcome.
See you next time on Greenbelt Neighbors.